Hi, today I'm gonna show you how to make this fingerless glove. Let's get started. Hi guys. First of all, please check my description box for all the details such as yarn and crochet hook and everything. This was super easy fingerless gloves. It took me about probably for a couple hours to finish this project. Anyway, I started from very bottom and I'm gonna show you the technique called double crochet foundation. At the very bottom part, that's gonna be my wrist rib. I use front post double crochet and the hand part is cluster stitch. And there we go. That's my yarn. And this is my hook I used. I believe it was 5mm. And this is the yarn I used. Drops design. Probably number 4. Drops design yarn has different, yarn number standard. So I'm not quite sure. Anyway, as I told you before, I am going to show you double crochet foundation. So usually people make chain around your wrist, right? And then put the both ends together, then making the double crochet in each chain, right? But here is the double crochet foundation. Make slip knot, then chain 2. That's it. That's the start. And then the second chain from top, 1, 2. So the bottom one, okay, I am going to create 1 double crochet. The first chain, that's round 2. There we go. And pull through 2, then pull through 2. Double crochet. So I just made the chain 2, then 1 double crochet in the first chain. And you probably don't know what I'm doing yet, but you will see. That stitch is the bottom stitch of you just made double crochet. So double crochet, that's bottom stitch. And the other side where I have on hook, that's the top stitch. So you make another double crochet into the bottom of your previous double crochet. I'll show you slowly, so don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm making second double crochet, right? So there we go. I just made second double crochet, right? So at the bottom of the previous double crochet, there's the bottom stitch. You're going to make 1 double crochet. Okay, right there. That's the bottom of double crochet which I just made. Okay, so I am going to make another double crochet. Okay, yarn over and put the hook in to the bottom of the double crochet stitch. There we go. And pull through 2, then pull through 2. There we go. So when you make more double crochet, it's easier to see. So always make a double crochet in the bottom of the double crochet, previous double crochet. So what I'm doing is skip the chain, making the chain. I'm actually making chain and double crochet at the same time. Okay. And if you're not sure, just watch until, a little bit more, because I will tell you a little tip. Okay. So that's the bottom of the double crochet. And there's a, stitch, very obvious stitch, right? And double crochet there. So you will have to repeat this, making, double crochet until your desired length, actually. So until enough length for your wrist. And I made about the 25 double crochet. There you go. So at the bottom, chain, then double crochet on top of it. So again, I'm making chain and double crochet at the same time. So if you don't like this technique, just create the chain as many as you want, and then make the one double crochet in each chain. Okay, I like this way. I don't like, making so many chains and put the make the double crochet in each. I'm kind of lazy. So anyway, this is the little tip. Okay, I'm going to create double crochet. So put the hook into the bottom of the double crochet, the previous double crochet, right? And pull through, and next you gotta watch. So yarn over and pull through 2, right? Because it's double crochet. When you pull through 2 first time, okay, you create already bottom of the double crochet. That's the one. That's the bottom stitch. Then when you pull through another 2, you create the top of the double crochet stitch. So there you go. Pull through 2, pull through stitch, and then now pull through 2 first time. I already create the bottom stitch of double crochet. There you go. Let's do that again. Pull through the stitch and then pull through 2 first one. I already create the bottom stitch, so that's the stitch I use next double crochet, and pull through another 2, right? And that creates, the top of the stitch. That's how you think. And I'm actually making a couple more, or maybe this is the last. I made about 25 double crochet, and that's the perfect, length for my wrist. So it's really up to you. You can make more or you can make less. It just have to, enough length for your wrist. There you go. So if this is the first mitten, you have to count every, stitch count and rows, because these are the pair, right? So you don't want to have a different size for left and right. All right. So now I will join both ends. Then start making wristband. Okay. So I'm going to use the double crochet front post. Front post, double crochet, whatever. You, okay, put top of the chain 2 first. Okay, make sure it's not twisted. Put the hook into the top of the chain 2 and slip stitch to connect. Now I am going to, crochet in round and front post, so yarn over, put the hook between 2 chain and first double crochet. There's a space, right? Yarn over, put the hook in between first 2 chain and double crochet space, and the hook coming back from the other side of the space and yarn over. There you go, and pull through 2 and pull through 2. This is the front post double crochet. Same thing, there's the space in between 2 double crochet. Put the hook in and come back from the other side of the space like that and yarn over and pull through that, behind the bar. Then pull through 2 and pull through 2. Double crochet. Do it again. Put the hook in, out, and yarn over and pull through that behind that, double crochet and finish the double crochet. That's about it. So you just have to create double crochet around. And I just want to make sure exactly where you have to put the hook in. Right there, that's top of the double crochet stitch. I'm not going to use that space. Space underneath of the top of the stitch. Did you get that? See, that's the top stitch space. And in between top and bottom. Okay? Because you have to put the hook behind that bar, So, there we go. And now I will show you how to end this row. Okay? I have to actually connect both ends again. This is the second double crochet from the last. So next I am going to put the hook in to the last space and then coming back into the other side. There you go. Put hook in and the first space right after the chain 2. Then connect. And after this, it's all connected. So you don't have to do anything. Just make double crochet. And at the ends tail, you have to kind of, the weave the ends off later. Anyway, so no more chain 2 to start. Just go around and around, which means you don't know which one is the first double crochet, right? So you better add some clip marker on. Anyway, I'm just showing you where you should put the hook in, right? So, and you probably know now, right? Again, you have to put the clip marker like that to make sure where is the first double crochet. And just make this wrist, until your desired length, and make sure you have to count the round. And whenever you finish the wrist part, you should do the slip stitch to connect. So that's my first row, right? So I am going to put the hook on top of the double crochet and slip stitch to connect. This is end of my wrist. Then now let's create the hand part. Super easy. Chain 2 to start, and I use cluster stitch. You can use the puff stitch or just a double crochet. You can do pretty much anything. So now you have to use the space, the usual space, which is top of the stitch space. Okay, so yarn over and put the first stitch and just like, double crochet, but half double crochet. You stop right there and yarn over, put the hook in same space and half yarn over. There you go. And pull through 3. Let's do that. Half double crochet, so pull through 2 and stop. And then let's do same thing. Pull through 2 and stop. Now you have a 3 chain on the hook, and then pull through 3. Do it again. Half double crochet twice. Okay? I'm just telling you it's going to be a little wider compared to just one double crochet. So it's going to get a little bigger after the, wrist. So you don't really have to increase stitch or anything. Don't worry about it. And just make the cluster stitch around. And only difference here is you have to kind of connect every row. So whenever you finish the cluster stitch into the last space, this is the one. You have chain 2 in front of you, right? Because I start with chain 2. And you will connect top of the chain 2 space, slip stitch. There you go. Then chain 2 to start for next row. There you go. 2 half, way of the double crochet, and then pull through 3 at the end. That's the cluster stitch. Half double crochet twice and pull through 3. That's it. And you just have to, keep knitting. Making until the bottom of the sum. There you go. So if this is yours, make sure, how long you want. If you, make more rows, which means, your the glove's gonna be bigger and longer. So it's really up to you, right? I think I knit 5 rows. Anyway, this is end of the 5th round. I have to connect and finish this row, right? Which is same as every other row, which is put the hook into the top of the chain 2 and then slip stitch to connect. After this, I have to separate thumb section from the whole hand part. You have to make sure the length is good enough. Make sure reach the bottom of the thumb, right? If that much difference, you should knit more, but make sure where the wrist part goes. Anyway, so I knit 5 rows. Then let's separate thumb section from 5 whole, the hand part. So take the thumb part. Make sure how many stitch you want. And then make sure that's good enough for 4 other fingers section too. And I'm going to make chain there to kind of separate, right? The thumb has to be individual. So make sure you count how many stitch you need for outside of the thumb and what about inside. Depend on the person, right? I have a quite thin fingers, so I'm going to add only 2 chain to separate them. Because if I add more chain in between thumb and digital finger, it's gonna get huge for thumb and 4 finger section. You know what I'm saying? That's the part. If you add more chain to separate, it's gonna get bigger because you will continue knitting. I mean, the making crochet stitch, right? And I don't want that. So I take 8 cluster stitch for outside of my thumb and I add 2 chain to separate. Before I only took 4 cluster stitch for outside of my thumb and I add 6 chain. That wasn't working well. So anyway, now I decide I am going to take 8 cluster stitch for my outside thumb. Yeah, count stitch like that. Okay. And then add only 2 chain in between thumb and digital finger. And I'm going to add marker for just in case because I don't want to count, every time, right? Then I just want you to make sure this is good size or not. So put the hand in and there you go. And like I said, I am going to add only 2 chain in between thumb and digital finger, but it's really up to you. If you want a little bigger, size, you can add 3, 4, 5. Okay, depend on your, finger size. But I have a quite small hand and thinner finger, so I only add 2. Anyway, so this is a little bit different. So let's watch. Okay, so chain 2 to start, but this isn't chain 2 for start, to be really honest, but chain 2. And then I am going to connect where I want to separate from, the thumb from the whole part. Connect it. There you go. Which means I create chain 2 first, but that's only for separation. And I am going to chain 2 there. That's the beginning of this row. Okay, so the first chain 2, that's where you have to, think. Maybe chain 3, maybe chain 4, because that's the separation, right? So for me, chain 2 to separate, and now I make chain 2 to start. There we go. And start creating cluster stitch. And this time only for 4 finger section. There we go. I'm actually trying to tell you where to start. So I just chain 2 and don't go next space. Create 1 cluster stitch into where the chain 2 is. Otherwise you will ended up make little space in between chain 2 to first cluster stitch. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Halfway of the double crochet twice and then pull through 3 stitch. That's the cluster stitch, right? And I'm adding, I think, 2 or 3 round. There we go. Right here. That's where I add the 2 chain, right? Chain 2. And I don't know if you want to add 3 or 4, but you have to create into that, new chain there too. So make sure, okay, you're not gonna go jump into the, the chain 2. Make sure every space you have to create the cluster stitch. Otherwise, you will have a gap, which you don't want to, right? And now, on top of the chain 2, okay, you have to create 2 cluster stitch there. Then connect onto top of the chain 2. Okay, so this is not the start chain 2. It's a little bit, confusing because both, chain 2 for me. So I should say this is maybe bridge chain 2. I don't know. Well, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, this is the second cluster stitch on top of the bridge chain 2, and then connect on top of the begin chain 2 with slip stitch. It's hard for me. I'm a little struggling to put the hook into the top of the chain 2. There you go. Slip stitch to connect and chain 2 to start. That's about it actually. And the thumb part is already done. You're not gonna add any more the stitch on top of it, and you're just creating the height for the 4-finger section. That's about it. And like I said, I made the 3 rows after the the separation, right? And then the end of the row, same thing. You just have to connect onto top of the chain 2 with slip stitch. That's about it. And cut the yarn and weave the ends off. That's about it. I actually make this, fingerless glove every year because it's easy and, it's nice to, have this type of the, glove because I have to take my dog, and knitting 5-finger gloves are little, complicated and then takes little bit more time. So this is super easy and takes no time. Anyway, that's about it. Again, this is beautiful, easy enough. And this front post double crochet rib, I just love it. And the hand part, you don't really have to use the cluster stitch. You can use the puff stitch, you can use single crochet, double crochet, anything you want, right? So as long as you know how, you can customize your glove. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye for now.